Welcome to Season 3, Episode 24 of Bragging Rights. Thank you as always to our sponsors, Scarf, but also to Tribal, the home of the pod. As you can see, we're here as always, or if you're listening, you won't know we're here, but we definitely are, because we always are. We're also very grateful that Tribal always do allow us to come in. Please remember, however you consume us, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, however you do it, remember to like and subscribe, but particularly if you're on YouTube, please remember to hype, as that does help us. So yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Fucking hate derbies.
I said exactly the same thing when I was like, they're just horrible, aren't they? I hate them. I don't think my heart rate went below about 110, 115 all game.
Is that normal for you, or?
No. My resting heart rate's like 60.
Okay.
No way.
60, yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, genuinely.
Oh wow. That is, you are an athlete.
I am. Sumo wrestlers are athletes, right?
I hope so.
Oh dear.
I guess we just need to talk about rugby, don't we?
I guess so. We don't mind, do we?
No, like I said, I don't know if people liked it or not, but we've got a derby. I'm still of the opinion we have too many derbies in Rugby League at the minute. Magic Weekend doesn't help. I've got my opinions on that are separate. We said last week, you know, whether you guys agreed with me or not, I thought that FC probably wouldn't get a better chance than this to beat us, especially in recent memory. We, rightly so, we was carrying our own injuries in knocks that we'll definitely talk about, but when you're going up against number one goal line defence in the league, you're going to be worried, aren't you? And that's what happened, and luckily for us, we've managed to, you know, get past them.
Once more than other teams, by all counts.
In terms of the goal line, I know you keep bringing it up because like you're gonna like it's all banter and stuff. You actually only broke our line once for a try. The rest of the tries came from like kicks and shit.
And ironically, it was the player who probably gets the most flack from Rovers fans in Reece Martin.
Really?
Who broke your line, yeah. I think it's unfair.
Flack in terms of what though?
Just that he's not good enough, he don't look after the ball, this, that and the other. And
there's a bit of narrative, a lot of Leeds fans, and what isn't even Leeds fans online, just about they don't think he's ever hit the heights that he hit at Leeds, which...
I think that's a fair assumption though, to be fair.
And I think that also does feed into what a lot of people talk about, that with Rovers, they've got a lot of good players, but not great players. But collectively, obviously last year, they managed to combine to do something unbelievable in terms of winning a treble. And that's very fair. But when you single them out one by one, people like to point out that they don't think they're as good as they were at previous clubs, and one of them is Martin, and I do see that narrative a lot. I'm not sure where I sit on that yet. I think I've seen him have some great performances, but that's where it comes from.
I mean, in terms of how things go, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I would probably, in football, in terms of compare you more to Leicester than Man City, for example. Like, in terms of the fact that Leicester got a really average group of players to play well, amazingly well together, whereas Man City have just got a plethora of talent.
Superstars.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to talk about this game.
If you want.
We can get it out of the way for 2 weeks, can't we? Because then we have to fucking do it again.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? Great fun.
Go on then, you
Get
won.
your ticket for that derby.
I'm away.
Oh yeah. I got mine. We won, did we?
You did?
Right,
Yeah.
okay. How many is that in a row now, Josh? 8? 8 is it? I thought it was.
I'm sure somewhere along the way we'll find out it was a moral victory for FC.
Yeah.
No. Not from me.
So someone will come out with it, because...
Oh, so there'll be someone on Twitter saying it was a moral victory for FC, but no, definitely not. Wasted opportunity. Massive wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
We said it last week, best opportunity we were going to have in years to turn you over, and for periods of the game, it was there. It was there for the taking, but it just didn't happen.
It was kind of like the first sort of 10-15 minutes was the arm wrestle you'd usually expect from a derby, and then after that we seemed to start getting on top a little bit. You were making errors, we were sort of getting our noses through the line without quite breaking it, and things like that, and it just seemed we'd sort of wrestled a little bit of control away from you guys, and we built on that. But then credit to you got back into the game and then obviously levelled it up at 12-all just after the break. But luckily I don't know. It was a bit weird because it felt like we was going to lose, and then obviously we've got the what I think. Obviously, we've all got different opinions, but what I think is the turning point in the game for me is Arthur, where you've got a 3-on-1 out to our left edge, your right, and as Josh has mentioned in the past, he tried to run it.
Is this when we brought the line?
On our left edge, your right edge.
Oh, you're not on about when we broke the line then, and it got shipped out and he kept it?
That's the same one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm asking if that's what you're on about.
I'm assuming so, yeah. It's the same one. I can't remember if there was a break before it or not, but yeah, for me, he's got to pass that. You pass that. You've got Litton or Briscoe, I think it is, on your right edge, and they've got to walk in. He tried to take it, last tackle, turnover, we go down the other end, big hit from Jez, which we'll get into, because I'm sure Hibble's got a few points on that he wants to bring up. Ball falls calmly for Jai, 12-point swing, and we go on and win the game from that.
The point with Arthur, I think that most of what I want to say today could just be snippets from the past 3 weeks. I repeatedly talk about Arthur saying that he goes when he shouldn't, and then he passes when he should go, and that I like him as a loose man. And I think that as he finds his feet, I'd like him to play loose for FC. I think it suits him better. He just doesn't feel right in the position. He showed the example of what you're describing there, where there was a big overlap to the right, he didn't give the ball, he went himself, we managed to keep you out on the goal line. Then in terms of what I've been saying for the past few weeks, all FC do is turn up, have opportunities handed on a plate to them against a depleted Wigan team, against a really poor Wire team, now against a Rovers team that had a smattering of injuries in key positions, that on the day made error after error, and you couldn't put us to bed and you couldn't score points. I've been saying that about you the last 2 games, it's the same in the derby. I've been saying about us for the last few weeks that we are making uncharacteristic bad decisions, more errors than we're used to seeing, missing more tackles than we're used to seeing, and we are good enough to beat the poor teams in the league when we play poorly. So anybody that's out of the playoffs, we seem to be able to beat, and beat when we're not impressed with our performance. And I called it out last week and said we'd win by 14 because of that exact reason. We won by 14 because your team didn't know how to get over the line, and then we still played quite badly. And yet, when we come up against teams in the top 6, or the expected top 6, we struggle, and we have sometimes close games like the Wakey game, or we get blown away like the Wigan game in the Challenge Cup final. And it's all coming to fruition. I feel like this weekend, the game played out exactly how we reviewed both your last 2 games, and I reviewed both our 2 last 2 games. It just played out perfectly as maybe I didn't want it to, but true to form didn't actually go out the window for either team. We played exactly how we've been playing for the best part of the past month.
Yeah, for the most part, I'd agree. I would probably say I think we played a little bit better than we have been. I think we looked. We kept that intensity that we'd had the week before, that aggression that we'd had the week before. But that's the bare minimum that you're going to expect in a derby. You've got to have that aggression, that intensity going into it. I was impressed with our forwards. Our starting forwards, especially. Not talking about the penalties that Hill gave away, but as a forward gaining metres and going forward, he is getting better. He just needs to get that niggle out of his game, that grubbiness out of his game now and then. To be fair, I wouldn't even call it grubbiness, it's daft penalties for Hill. Lazy penalties.
It's not actually a problem with Hill that I have. It's the problem with the team he's doing it for. Your team is not good enough to be able to get over the mistakes that he makes in games.
100%.
Last week he directly cost you a try in a close game because he made back-to-back errors, a knock-on and then a stupid penalty. And then this week he makes a knock-on and then a stupid challenge again, which then gives us field position and help us up the field. And when you do that for a Wigan or a Rampage in Leeds, they just back themselves to be fine after that. You don't have that skill on the field right now to do that. And he needs a bit of tutoring, a bit of leadership as he grows as a player to know there's a time to make their mistakes and a time not to. Not so much the knock-ons they happen, but I mean the high tackles and the late challenges.
It comes with experience though, doesn't it? He's only relatively young.
I think he's only 22.
That's what I mean, and as a prop forward, he's still very,
and that's my point.
I've
brought him up a few times because I've got my concerns, but that doesn't mean I don't rate him and think he'll be a good player in the future. I have more problems with experienced players like Cade Cust. The mistakes he made on the day, they are unforgivable.
Yeah, I can't say they're not unforgivable, and I know you claim him as an experienced player because he has been around for a while. I don't know where I sit with Cade. I don't know where I've ever sat with Cade. Like, if it weren't for the fact that the quota got increased, I'd probably claim him as one of them waste of a quota space players, because he's, in my opinion, your quota players should be, at least when you were allowed 7 or whatever it was, your quota players should be your top players. You shouldn't be spending a quota spot on an average player. But obviously they increased the quota, so it makes less difference on that sense. But yeah, still, I think if you're bringing someone over, should be a top player, and he's not. So yeah, I get that.
Players like Cust, there's a reason teams like Wigan let Cust go. They don't see, and it sort of probably feeds into the point I made about Rovers earlier. They let Burgess go. Burgess never came back to Wigan. He ended up coming back to Rovers, and he managed to elevate himself around other good players to win something. Wigan let Cust go. He hasn't found that landing spot. He's had good games for you, he's had bad games for you. He made 2 mistakes on Saturday that we will definitely talk about the Andy last interview, because I know we have different opinions. I've already alluded to it once. But if I'm the coach coming off, that's the player I'm singling out to say they directly impacted us. I know there wasn't as fresh, but it was 2 stupid mistakes where in a nitty-gritty, grubby sort of game, a derby where that level of attrition does go into aggression sometimes, he's just gone on the wrong side of a line and cost his team. And I mean, Cust was more to blame than Martin, even though Martin was direct on an incident that led to a try. And that's probably where my frustrations on the last interview come from, and which we will talk about in a bit, but that's why I see it differently.
I think that's... Go on.
No, just the Cust thing. Both of the 2 penalties he got, both led to try opportunities. Obviously, one got chalked off in Broadbent's poor attempt for a winger, but oh no, he's not a winger, so we'll let him have that one. But literally the stupid short grab and then the leg in the air, both literally went straight down our end and immediately got over the try, and obviously one was disallowed. But even so, it really idiotic, silly decisions just from one player.
And that's, I can see, Susan's telling us that we should talk about the last interview now because we've mentioned it twice already. That's directly why I feel if you're going to be a coach and come off the field and call out and single out a player for a mistake, I understand the momentum shift that happened when Jez when Jez Litton hit Martin and he lost the ball and Whitbread scored. I don't feel that's the right thing to call out on a young player. I feel as though I'd be calling out an experienced player in Cade Cust, who was, Abel's just said, 2 mistakes that directly led to 1 try and another try that was chalked off because Broadbent was very silly, went sliding in like a child at a school disco on his knees. But for me, that was more egregious. That was more unforgivable than what happened to Martin.
Yeah, and like you say, we've got different opinions on the last interview. Like, you've mentioned it, and I know that Susan was quite passionate about it after the game for some reason, saying that he was calling Martin out, and I know that's what you've said. I don't see it as him calling Martin out. I just see it as him pointing out what he thinks was the game-changing moment, and I don't think he shits on Martin or anything like that. He's just saying, look, the game changed when Martin makes that error. And I agree. I've not watched the game back in full, so I might disagree after watching it back in full and having the ability to dissect the game in more detail, like you can when you're watching it on TV versus being pissed off in the stands. It's different, and you get more, and you get the commentator side of things as well, and the replays and all that. I haven't watched it back in full, so I've not been able to see things like the replays of the Cust shit and Hill being a bell end and stuff like that.
Look, I think what's happened there, lads, is I think it's actually a bit of both, and there's emotion involved. It's a derby, and it's the whole derby, the one true derby, and it's too far either way. I think on the one hand, a neutral person's more stood there going, I don't have a problem with Andy Lash coming out and being honest. The problem is that as part of the overall package of his interview, he's blaming officials again. And so he's coming across like a bit of a whiner. So people are already getting the back up because they see it as it's not professional, and he's whining about the officials in the sport, which we know is a big no-no, whether he's right or wrong. So people get the back up. Also, it feels like he's singled out a young player and gone, Martin did that. Now, he doesn't say it aggressively. He doesn't say Martin's to blame for us losing, but he goes, Lewis comes up with an error and they score. And it feels like he's singling out one player when the reality is Your team didn't win, not because of the officials, not because Jez put a big shot on him, because you don't know how to score points and you're not good enough to beat even a poor Rovers team that have got injuries at the minute. And that's just a matter of the fact. Then the flip side of that is, you're quite enjoying the fact that he comes out, he makes honest statements, he's like a Hull FC guy through and through his lasty. And it's quite refreshing to see that honesty of someone that says, no, this is how I see it and I want to see it. And I think it's true on both accounts, but you've got that emotion of, I like it, I'm an FC fan, I don't like it as a Rovers fan because he's calling a young player out. The reality is he hasn't quite called him out. I say, from my opinion, I wouldn't want Willie Peters to come into a post-match interview and say, Booth's error led to that try and that was the game turning point. I didn't like that. I do like it when he comes off and goes, Mikey's tripped someone against York and it's a massive mistake and he'll pay his penalty for that and he'll miss the World Cup challenge potentially and he deserves it. That's fair. Mikey's got a few more years experience despite being a young lad and it was definitely a big decisive moment in that game. I don't like that from my coach. You guys are welcome to like it from your coach. Whether you think it's aggressive or not, it's not for me.
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying I didn't see it as I don't know, like I didn't see, like the way that it came across from like yourself and from Susan on the day was that you felt like he'd done a dirty on Martin. I didn't feel like he'd done that. I felt like he'd just been honest, and yeah, fair enough, Martin's young, but at the end of the day, this is a kid with ambitions of playing for England, ambitions of playing at the World Cup, maybe, probably not this year because the overall team's not performing well enough for him to reach that, but you got to learn. You got to learn. I don't care how old he is. If he's playing first team rugby league, he's playing first team rugby league. Treat him the same as anyone else.
I really didn't see an issue with it, to be honest.
I do also want to point. I definitely agree on the calling out the officials thing. I think that yes,
I think both
whoever it
coaches could
did,
have come out and done that though. To be fair.
yeah, but whoever it was that pulled Clark back, yeah, it was. It could have quite easily been pulled back by the video ref. It could have quite easily gone as a yellow card. Do I think we need to call that out when you are quite rightly pointing out that the main reason we lost that game is because we can't get over the fucking line? Then no, don't be calling out the referees when we've made enough.
I don't know, just because one thing happens doesn't change the fact that one thing's still wrong, does it? Like, were any of us happy with the refereeing display in that derby match? I thought the referee was all over both teams in terms of nitpicking, the amount of six agains and like niggly little penalties that seemingly were for fuck all. Sorry for swearing, but
You
Just a quick
scored
one.
two tries.
No,
You scored two tries that direct came off the back of repeat six agains against our team,
as did you.
right? Of which I couldn't see something wrong with at least one in the build-up to it.
So that's what I was going
And
to ask,
then-
because you watched it on TV, right? First question, was the ref actually waving his arm for the six against? Because I don't think I saw him wave his arm for a few of them.
I mean, it's hard to ignore the big bong in it. And
Yeah,
the
no,
thing
that's
is,
the
but
thing,
obviously I wouldn't say I noticed it, but I couldn't say that I didn't see him do it either.
Like, there was a couple of times on our line, we were defending our line, and he was like, bong, six again, and I'm like, he didn't fucking wave his
He
arm.
was giving
what are you
that
on about?
minute,
Like,
his arm just stayed up, and that's why he didn't notice.
But also, yeah, well, yeah, maybe, but yeah, it was
But
just...
to answer Abel's question about was we happy with the refereeing performance? No, because we could have lost that game and we could turn around and then, Willie Peters come on and say, I don't know why my team had to successfully challenge 3 times. All right, 2 successful, 1, no decision given because Hull FC can't pack a scrum.
Despite the fact the
Narvik
decision
and
changed.
Rovers. It's ridiculous. But he didn't come off. We're not going to agree on it because we've got our glasses on, red and white tinted black and white. I think it's kind of split down the middle for us that have watched the interview. I don't like my coach calling out a young player, whether you want to try and nitpick around, he didn't call him out, he just directly spoke about it. For me, it was a time and a place to learn and grow. You get back in the changing room, you have your debrief, you get in on a Monday morning, and you say, you've got to have better ball security. That actually led to their points. You don't do it on TV.
Well, if Jez didn't put a shoulder charge in,
And that's how I see it, whereas you see it as, he's okay to do that. That's absolutely fine. I don't like that. We'll see what happens when Steve McNamara comes in if he does it the same way.
He won't. He is a different coach.
But let's talk about the shoulder charge.
No, I'm joking. I didn't see it as a shoulder charge.
No, neither did we, but James did.
I thought it was, and most of the commentary team thought it was, for what it's worth. I know, obviously, a couple of you guys went. I personally think the shoulder charge stuff is over-policed these days, but at the end of the day, we're not playing to the rules that we imagine, we're playing to the rules that exist right now. And to me, whilst I would say that's soft, it is a shoulder charge to rules, in my opinion. Yeah, and it's just me watching, and obviously it's a big, when the game seems to turn on that point, it's going to be a talking point, isn't it?
On a game day in a stadium, I tend to, like, yeah, I'll make my own judgment, but you get a feel for how it's viewed when the replay's showed. And I don't think I remember anyone sort of booing or calling anyone out or anything like that. When it showed the replay, I think it was just a sigh of like despair.
Well, that was at the Rovers end, wasn't it, when it happened?
No. Yeah, it was, but it still showed the replay.
I know,
but there was just a sigh of like despair about the fact that like
It's come from an error.
it's come from an error. Like no one in the stands, no one around us was shouting for a shoulder charge or anything, and I don't remember viewing it.
I say, I'm more than willing to admit it's soft as far as shoulder charge. It's not like a blatant, no attempt to wrap at all. But to me, the contact is made before the arm does any wrapping at all. It's a shoulder charge by the definition of what the rule is right now, in my opinion.
If that's the case, then, as I said in the group, 90% of the tackles you see in Super League are shoulder charges. Because unless it's like a last-ditch tackle where they're wrapping round or anything like that, a lot of hard contact is shoulder with their arm out, and then it starts to come round. So
Well, that's all Slabio does for you.
Yeah.
That's literally how he tackles. It's the exact same momentum and the same movement. Now, whether you were saying, Abel, from your point of view, it's on the soft side of it. The reality is, we complain about the refs, complain about the cameras. It was blatantly in front of, it was checked, and the decision was made that it wasn't a shoulder charge, and it's fallen one way or the other. On the day, I actually said online, and I felt that if the ref had said, I'm sending this up as no try, I don't think they would have overturned it. Then I think you'd be having the opposite discussion today, where we'd be sat there saying, that's an absolute BS decision, that's never a shoulder charge in a million years, I can't believe they've turned that over, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And that's, again, going back to the letters of the law and how it's rubbish with the video refs and the decisions they make. Because he said it's a try, there was nothing to overturn. Now, some Rovers fans will hate me saying you should be more on Craig's side, that it's just not a shoulder charge, it's just normal. But then some FC fans will actually turn around and say, you can see I'm agreeing with you because there's that level to it. But
you're trying to get in favour with FC fans?
No,
he's got a lot more than this to do.
Not whatsoever, because literally all you hear is, if we hadn't had these bad decisions at the end, we'd have won the game, and I'm just sick of hearing it. Do something for more than a few minutes. Decide if you want Caesar or Arthur, bin one off and keep the other one, and then just, let's not try and blame anything with our own performance.
I mean, Caesar is on the market to be sold, isn't he?
Well,
I think the decision's been made. It's just whether or not
clubs, I think
offered to clubs.
Yeah. The terminology used.
We're stuck for halfbacks. We've only got Wales at the minute, haven't we? So.
No, but in terms of halfbacks, so I agree with Josh. I would like to see Arthur play 13. Whilst I do think that his decision making in terms of when to run and when to pass has improved over the last 4 or 5 games, it's still not there. He's still making.
Still evidently not there.
Yeah, and he's. I think the one where I think we're on about different ones, but where I thought he should have got rid of it, we'd made that break, the one where Clark got pulled back, which fair enough, it went. I'm not going to moan and say we needed a yellow.
Should be 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, it should have been, but whatever.
Yeah.
So we made the break and then we shifted the ball across, and he just didn't have. I don't know whether it was just a bad ball to him or whether he just hadn't got the speed in his hands to just go get rid. Like you would expect like from a top class 6, he just didn't get the ball out and he took the line and he didn't. Whereas, Briscoe probably would have gone in the corner if he'd have been able to get that ball out quicker. Top class 6 would be able to do that. But, I think you're right. I think he has got the hand speed and quality of a 13. And the amount of, the pace that he's got, mirrors that of a 13. The power in his body, he probably could do with putting on maybe a couple of kilograms to up that if he was going to play 13. But overall, I agree. Like, Arthur's a 13, not a 6.
The example in the game is the try he scored. So Mikey gets a little bit hung out to dry by, I think it's Batchelor, and it leaves Mikey in 2 mans on the line. Yeah. And Arthur is big enough, clever enough, strong enough to know that that's there. He finds the gap. He's sort of momentarily held up, but with a second effort, he gets the ball down. That's a great try for anyone, but that's a 13's try. That's not a 6's try. They try and find the gap, right? Now,
Six would have put his head down and gone through and
correct.
hardly
Or
been
uncovered.
touched, where
And it
he
just
dragged
proves
Litton
to
and
me
Lewis both over.
how I see Arthur, and I think it would benefit your team, and maybe that's what we'll get next year. Now, I'm just curious with time on that. I think we should probably talk about, there was some instances in the game regarding subs, injuries, adjustments, and we haven't really touched upon them. Now, I've mentioned at the start, before we started recording, that it was a very close run thing in terms of, yes, you've got a lot of injuries, but this was one of the most injury-covered Rovers teams that we've had for a long time. Now, apparently, Sky mentioned it a few too many times to your dislike, Abel.
They want. No, carry on.
Yeah, but we was missing key people, and the reality is we've been dealing with Morg for a while, and I think that we found that Broadbent isn't hitting the heights of last year at fullback. So we tried something new. We're Hampshire at fullback, who had good job, 100% record as a Robin, never gets beaten. You can't beat that, can you? Then when you bit of a shuffle around with that, Broadbent didn't exactly do himself any favours with his missed try scoring opportunity, but he didn't do too bad under the high ball and playing at wing. But we was missing, Amon, Hadley in the middle, which is always going to be a bit of a challenge. And then we made this choice that we would have Booth and Leyland on the bench. And then we went on to play Leyland for only 9 minutes, came off visibly frustrated, and in fact he led directly to you evening the game up. He was the man offside that gave Zach the chance to kick 2 points in front of the sticks. He then got brought off. Willie Peters had said afterwards that it was a game time decision. He felt the momentum was shifting and he needed Jez back on, and that's why he did that. But then we didn't put Booth on at all, despite the fact that Sue had gone off for a HIA and then had come back on as well. And it was just a bit of a strange one for us in terms of we're not a team that doesn't often use all our subs.
Yeah, it was. We were in the stand and we were saying about when the team came through about both being on the bench, and we're like, why? Unless one of the backs was carrying a knock, that we're expecting maybe we'll need a shuffle, or maybe it was Hiku going into second row if it was a forward getting a knock, for example. We're not sure, but then for him not to get on, it's like you said, it's very rare that we don't use all of our subs. So it was very confusing as to why. And then Leyland, you've got to feel sorry for him. What's he got to do to get some game time?
But if you're carrying a knock in your backs, you have probably the best, if not one of the best, utility backs in the league in Broadbent. You've put him up on the wing, but you've got a specialised winger on the bench. Why not just put Booth on the wing and then you keep Broadbent there? Broadbent could have come on and done a minute of whatever at second row or at centre if needs be. He can come on at full-back, he can come on at... Kid can play pretty much everywhere except prop. You add that utility value on the bench. Booth scores that try.
Absolutely, I was going to say that, but you've beat me
fair
to
enough.
it.
It was good cover defence. I think it was Moy that got across and quite rightly did the right thing and attacked an area of the body that you can actually put in touch instead of just trying to push someone at the shoulders, which never works. He did a great job at covering, but Booth scores that try. Because Booth would have been off the ground. He would have been fully off the ground, full Kevin Penny, bang, put the ball down, done. But Broadbent's not a winger.
Does it matter?
It don't matter. No, it don't matter.
But this is the point, though. It's a question for a reason. I brought it up because it's strange. We've not done it like this previously. Peters has said afterwards that Booth was unlucky not to win game time. We all scratched our heads when it happened. Ultimately, it didn't lead to us losing the game. It didn't seem to have led to any major injuries.
It was just weird.
And so it's worked out kind of.
Very weird.
Once again, Peter seems to have done all right, and we can't really question him.
Come up roses.
Whereas directly for you guys, in comparison, you had a major incident in when Davy Litton gets injured, and you had to shuffle to that. How did that impact you? Thoughts?
I thought Cartwright did. You know what? I still can't decide whether it was Cartwright or Batchelor that was playing centre, because I think they just kept chopping and changing. But I think the main one is the point that you brought up. To come off the back of that is Clark. Lennon Clark did himself no disservice whatsoever.
I thought he went well.
Kid played 80 minutes, and I mean you'll see more of it on the TV because you can pinpoint players a bit more. But I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's hard for such a young player to stand out they're never going to really stand out at that age unless they're a superstar already. But he didn't stand out for the wrong reasons was kind of my thing. And I believe he's only had a few. Yeah, I don't know how long he played, but I think he played off the subs bench against Lee.
Yeah,
probably a month or so back. Literally, that's his first start. I think that's a pretty good first outing overall. That there wasn't anything major to report as a downside, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought it went well. He tackled well. He carried well.
And the fact that Carty was on the bench, you knew that Clark wasn't intending, Last wasn't intending on playing Clark for the full game. I think we'd done it.
Carrick came off the bench last week against Wigan.
Yeah,
did the same thing.
Did the same thing, but yeah, I reckon that was what was planned. But yeah, credit to the kid, like absolute credit to him. He was one of them, like you say, went under the radar a little bit for in the stands. You didn't kind of notice he was there, but that's exactly what you really want from a kid, really. First start, big derby, big game.
It's not that. I actually think that you might be underselling him a tiny bit, because I think he was making an impact at times, but it all comes back to, and it's not me just trying to have a dig, but it all comes back to, we always talk about forwards laying a platform for your halfbacks to play off. At times, some of your forwards were doing that, momentum was shifting, we was backpedaling, you managed to even the game up, and you still had so many repeat incidents where you couldn't get over the line, you couldn't string the right pass together, you couldn't find the right attacking shape. And when that happens, your frustrations focus on, we messed that chance up, we knocked on there, we made a forward pass, we didn't do this, we've turned the ball over a bad kick. And actually there were times when the young lad was part of that building a bit. He was targeting some tired Rovers defence, where, as we say, we hadn't made these changes. We had these injuries for normal players that do big minutes for us, that would be in the centre. And I actually think he did make that impact, but he's gone under the radar because you didn't get anything off the back of it.
I think what I was trying to get across is, yes, he went under the radar, but because he just fit in, if you know what I mean. Like he didn't stand out. He didn't do anything amazing on his own. But let's face it, he's 19, 20-year-old, like kid, second row, first derby, big game day feel at Magic
First
Weekend.
start, never mind, first
start, yeah, first start. When I'm on about him, like he didn't stand out, I'm on about for the wrong reasons. And like you say, it's quite easy to stand out for the wrong reasons when you're a kid, especially in a derby, and you're up against a decent pack like what you've got. And he didn't get caught out defensively. I'm more than happy. And I am underselling him because I'm saying he didn't stand out, but yeah, I thought he did class.
You got any results or out to wrap this section up, Jimmy, or none from this week? I've just got a couple then. The academy went down 24-25 at Huddersfield Giants. Unfortunately, the wheelchairs also suffered the same fate. They got beat 32 points to 40 by Salford. Finish on a good news. Liberty Academy, which is former Archbishop Thurston Centimore Academy or whatever it was called, they played the Year 10 Girls Schools final at Hill Dickinson before Magic Weekend, and they ran out 32 points to 4 winners over St John Fishers from Dewsbury, which by all accounts, somebody I was speaking to, there's a bit of a rivalry between the two. St John's beat Liberty earlier on in the season in the Yorkshire Cup final. This one was a national one, so they got a bit of a modicum of revenge there. And a special shout out to Nancy Palmer, who got the player of the match for Liberty Girls. So well done to them.
Good effort. I think I've been sent our results. There we go. Oh God, why have you sent me these to read out? Hull's wheelchair team got beat 99-6 by Halifax, and Hull's under-18s got beat 30 points to 18 against St Helens.
Bragging Rights is proudly sponsored by Comscaf. Hull's own Comscaf have been keeping things safe and steady for over 30 years, providing professional scaffolding services nationwide. If you need a team you can trust for your next project, big or small, head to comscaf.co.uk or give them a call on 01482 782 181.
Shall we have some news from around the Rugby League world, gentlemen?
News from around the world.
No one said yes, so
Go
we're
for
going to
it.
do it
I
anyway.
gave him a jingle, so we're all good.
We're going to mainly focus on Magic Weekend. I think that's probably where most of the information is
Just
coming
done
from.
that.
So apparently it was 8 derbies in a row now. I'm going to start without Magic Weekend just for a quick one. But Leeds Rhinos have announced today the 2027 signing of Dylan Walker from Parramatta Eels. This is going to be a 3-year deal, and apparently Brad Arthur's made some comments about this, saying he has utility value and pretty much don't expect him to be replacing Brodie Croft. We're more likely to see him in the pack,
Interesting.
which is, I think, adds a bit of intrigue to it.
Fair.
And now we will talk about Magic Weekend.
Very good signing.
Yeah, it is a good signing. Magic Weekend, I think a lot of people that went felt it was a success. I know some of you guys was there and seemed to have a good time. It was,
I definitely did.
yeah,
We know you did.
we saw the late night videos and messages, Craig, we know you had a fantastic time. It was a roaring success when it comes down to the numbers, and what they're calling out now is the biggest ever attendance at a Magic Weekend, which I think should be celebrated.
There is a caveat though, they did include the Catalans to lose.
Don't worry, I'm going to get to that. So 82,295 total attendance, so just over 82k. This does include 5,483 that was down in Cast for the Catalan-Toulouse game. However, even if you take this away and put them at 77k, the previous record was back in 2016 at St James's Park in Newcastle of 68,276. So it was already going to beat that by 10k regardless. It's done roaring numbers on social media, on YouTube videos, on likes and subscribes and things like that. Won't go through them in detail, but one of the big ones, one of my favourite areas to haunt and read messages on Reddit, who had a massive input and was asking questions to some of the coaches post-match. They also had an increase of over 100,000 people reading match threads and getting involved over the weekend. So across the board, Super League, in the wild, in the media and on social media, getting some increased engagement, which is good to see. Now, one of the things that they've said about this now at the back of it is, let's go back there. And what's happened is they are going to go back to the Hull Dickinson Stadium. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hull got Dicked again Stadium. Sorry, Hull Dickinson Stadium. I was right first time. They are going to go back next year, but it's going to be on a new date. And
we
it
know.
won't be, and it's going to be back on the May bank holiday. They had the offer to go somewhere else on the same date next year because there's already a booking at Everton Stadium, but they said they'd rather go back because how much of a success it was, and that they'll do it on the May bank holiday. Final point on the good side news of Magic Weekend, over 15k raised as a total of all of the M&D celebrations that we saw on the weekend. Thought there were some really good ones, there were some really funny ones, there were some really sort of unique ones that people did, and I thought it was really good of Cass to allow so many tries that all that money went to M&D, so shout out to Cass.
Can I pick you my two favourites?
Yep,
Tom Johnston picking out an Uno card out of his sock with a +4 on it.
one of my favourites.
You know, I had to have someone explain what that was because I've never played Uno.
It's pick up 4, basically.
Well, yeah, I know, but yeah.
Now you do.
No, I know.
And I think it was in the Leeds game, was it Jared O'Connor who did a twerk? It just really tickled me to see a rugby player do a twerk. I just found it hilarious.
Did like the fake back injury and then
just
into
went,
it.
I think I love the celebrations thing, and I do. And it's going to sound like I'm putting a downer on it. I'm not trying to. Obviously, I support all the banging the drum for M&D and the arrow for Jai Arrow and all. I support it. I would really have liked if more like different ones came. You know what I mean? Like I think all the celebrations in the All game, I think they were all aimed at Jai Arrow and Craig Escott, which is fantastic.
Briscoe did a Doctor Strange.
He did a what?
He was basically trying to open a portal.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, but like
That did it twice
like,
when his
I
first try was disallowed.
I wanted to see more different ones, but it is fantastic. I mean, the amount of money that was raised.
Did you
was
not notice
fantastic,
Jar
but-
Whitbread's? It was like sheer panic.
No.
He was like
Was because he didn't know the ball was coming to him.
like when he was like, arrow, drum, baby. You can do them all if you want, pal.
No, I do think it's good. But yeah, I want to see more.
I know what you mean.
Like
Yeah.
the NFL, the celebrations you get in the NFL.
So
like,
many different ones. There was a golf swing as well, which I found really good. I can't remember who did that one.
Kieran for
Was
Wigan.
it Adam Kieran? Yeah. It wasn't him though. He was celebrating, and somebody actually went and got him the corner flag, and then he golf swung it.
Wow,
So
I didn't
I
see
thought
that.
that was very good.
Lovely bit of business. I'm going to stick with Magic Weekend for the final bit of news because I'm just going to talk about the disciplinary. So, disciplinary come out this afternoon.
Can I just point out
Well, that way.
that way? Loved it. Best stadium we've ever used for Magic Weekend.
Absolutely superb.
Fantastic.
I second that. I was there for the full weekend. I made a full weekend of it. It's a little bit further out than what Newcastle is. Pretty much the same as Manchester, I would say. Like, it's a short tram ride away in Manchester. This one, we put shuttle buses on from Liverpool, £2 each way. Or you could walk it in half an hour, or there's the metro, which is a 5-minute stop away. The facilities in the ground, absolutely superb. Doesn't matter where you sat. I was in the upper bowl.
I bought a drink and a sausage roll, and I tapped my card, and it let me in the thing, and I picked up the sausage roll.
How good is that?
Picked up a drink, and I just walked out, and it knew what I'd bought, and then it popped up 20 minutes later. You've been charged this much. I was like, oh, that's the right amount. And they've got like AI cameras on the. It's like
That was very.
I was like, I want to go back just for that.
Yeah, but yeah, the facility is fantastic. Don't matter where you sat. Everywhere I sat, 'cause I sat in a few different positions throughout the weekend. Perfect view. Obviously, it's a bowl. It's a little bit steep, but if you're in the top tier, what do you expect? Just all round great. Outside, plenty of space for all different food vendors. There
Plenty
was
of room for activities.
Oxen stalls. There was the challenges and things like that. There was Boost, the energy drinks are available, giving away free items and things like that. It was just an absolute superb weekend.
Yeah, so I didn't want to cut you off, but I thought we had to say, like I had to say, loved it. Best stadium.
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry,
Glad we're going back then.
I'll give you it back now.
Yeah, just going to mention disciplinary. Bit of a naughty weekend across the board, really. There was a lot of incidents in a lot of the games that I think, a few people cringed a little bit at and put the waggy finger out. But in the end, 14 players were charged in the end, so a hefty one for the guys to get through today. What's going to be shocking about this is that even though 14 people were charged, only one person has picked up a ban. So Sam Powell picked up 3 matches for his hip drop on Tessie New.
Could happen to a nicer guy.
Some of the notable ones that I think personally bringing up, the first one, Wardle for Wigan, only picking up 5 points in a farm, no ban for a clear UFC elbow into the face of the opposition. There was a few naughty ones in that game. It was a very, very tense affair.
Brutal, I think we described it as in the group.
Any more happens, people are getting sat down 5
Same
seconds
thing
later.
happened again.
Bang, bang, on, gone.
Yeah, it certainly caused a lot of confusion with it's 2 yellow cards, he needs a red card. I saw that one flying around quite a lot as well in the Wigan and Saints game.
Hey.
Somebody put online, he's got 2 yellows, he needs to go for a red. He'd put it into like a chat GPT or something like that, and it came up saying yes, he should have got a red. And then loads of other people commenting underneath it, basically saying, no, you don't. It's not 2 yellows make a red in rugby league. That's football. So yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. But the two that are probably worth mentioning just in context of our podcast. So Jez Litton did pick up 2.5 points, grade A for
a shoulder charge?
head contact. No further action on that one. No. There's a farm, but there's no ban, so to speak. And then SASA did call this out on the day. Did think he would get in trouble for this. Direct contact with a match official. He has picked up
Was it a shoulder charge?
5 points and
Go
a
sit on the other
fine.
side of the table.
No, his arm was out, but it wasn't wrapped, so it's fine.
What? Because I hadn't seen it. I didn't see on it. What did he actually do?
So he picked him up like a little baby.
Give him to Jai Whitbread to do
Yeah.
celebration.
It was post I think maybe the Whitbread try or a different. It might have been actually after the no try in the corner from Broadbent. Whichever one it was, he was running over to plead with the referee, and as he runs up, he puts hands on his shoulders to grab him and say, "You've got to check that, or you can't see what he's saying." It was stupid. You can't make contact, but it's not accidental either. So it's not as if he's accidentally brushed past him.
Yeah.
He does physically grab the referee. And I think, you're always going to get fined for that. And I think it's fair to not see him pick up a ban. But it could have been a chance, because when you're picking up a few points, it can add to your total card. So you'll need to be careful going forward.
Fair enough.
And from me, that was news from around the Rugby League world today.
Yeah. So Tribal this week then, they will be showing, as always, all of the Super League games. They're also going to be showing the England game at 10 PM on Saturday. Josh, you're the big resident football fan, is it? 10 p.m. on Saturday.
Honestly, anytime I can see a bit of soccer ball, when they're out there, you've got the Hurricane with his 12-yard death strikes, and I think, get me in. Hey Jude. Oh, yeah, but it is 10 p.m.
All right, thanks for that, yeah. So they will be showing it. All the tables are sold out. Excuse me.
So we're telling you, but you can't come.
No, you can. There's standing room only, inside and outside, out the front and out the back.
Okay.
The outdoor bars will be open. One thing I will say is we do advise to get here early because it's first come, first serve, as I just said, and it will probably sell out. There will be turning people away. So if you want to come down here, get down here early. Rovers kick off at 5:30 if you want to make a night of it. Come in, do it then. Obviously showing the old game as well on Thursday night away at York.
Don't get here that early though.
No, but don't get here at 5:30 on Saturday because you'll miss it. Because it's 8 o'clock Thursday.
Shit, man. Go on, carry on.
It was very busy.
And as
4 o'clock
always,
this morning.
thank you to 7 Gold. Jimmy, can you model for me, please? Josh, thank you very much. Oh, he's gone like that, has he? Yeah.
It's my Jai Arrow 7 goal celebration.
Shooting it off your head. William
If you
Tell
want.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as always, again, thanks to 7 Gold for supplying Josh and Jimmy. I've had a look at it. Oh, Jimmy's going for it. Which one you got there, Jimmy?
Banoffee.
Banoffee. Oh, he's having a mug of it. I'm going to have a shot of the toffee one, I think. So, cheers for 7 Gold.
Nicer than you'd think. I don't like
Banoffee
banana
one.
stuff. Do you want some?
No, thank you.
Want some?
He's driving.
So am I.
No, you're not. Drink responsibly.
There we go. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
so.
On to me then.
It's about as good as you're getting from me, so.
Comments section. We've got two things in the comments section. One is a question for all of us, and one is a question for Josh that he has already answered on YouTube, but we like the question and we like the answer, and we think it should be broadcast.
Give a different
Do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, but I will give a completely different answer.
Okay, right. So from James Wilson FC, I think he was trying to be a shithouse, but whatever.
No, I know James. I know if it's the same James I'm thinking
Before
of.
you read it out, I'm in two minds whether he was trying to go for a bite or it's a genuine question. I don't mind either, but I could see why
Depends
you
on
could
your
take
response.
it either way.
Yeah.
I do, if it's the same James, which I do think it is, I do know this guy and I think it'll be meant in a genuine manner.
All right. So he says, Josh, suddenly gone from wanting to be the next Wigan, serial winner, etc., and now you're just happy to be getting in the top 6 and competing. What's changed?
I really want to give a different answer. Just
Let
for
me
Vance.
find the original
No,
one,
I've
and
got
then
it
I'll
here. It's
compare
fine.
it.
I've got it. I'm not going to read it, verbatim, but I'll be very similar because it's genuinely how I feel. I said back to James, it was a really good question. I know I'm quite a vocal person on the pod, and my opinions come across. So rightly so. What's changed? Why have you changed that mindset? And I thought it was a really fair question. I think, to be honest with you, it's a mixture of a few things. I think coming into this season, I probably had unrealistic expectations. Given how much we achieved last year, I didn't at first have those expectations, but then we managed to win the World Club Challenge, and it kind of went out the window, and I went, we could still do this. We've got a team that can maybe go back-to-back or perform at that level. And it probably didn't respect the fact that you need a bit of luck along the way with injuries and things like that in a long season in a tough sport. So that combined with the fact that now the season's well underway, we've gone past the halfway point, I can see where maybe we're not as good as last year. We definitely haven't had those performances. We've lost some of those games by 2 to 4 points that we didn't lose last year that we got over the line with. And as I said at the start of this pod, against the teams that outside the playoffs, I fancy us every day of the week, twice on Sunday. The teams in the top 6, I think, we're much closer match to this year. And it's just not going our way. So it's made me change my opinion of it. And I think that, in all fairness, I still want to be a Wigan. I still want to be in the mix for trophies. I'd like to go back to back. I'd like to win the treble this year as well. I know we can't do that now. But why would I not want that? So that hasn't changed. You always want that as a club. But I think my actual expectations have changed to the fact that what I think now is, what did I ask for? To win something. We said this last week. We have won a trophy this season, and a big trophy at that, a World Cup Challenge. Now, we're lost in a final. I said I wanted to get to finals. Now I need to see how we get on, march to the playoffs, cement ourselves in the playoffs, get a good run there. Can we get to another grand final? It's not going to be an unsuccessful season if we lose. It'll be gutting, but it'll be really sort of bittersweet in terms of actually we're starting to do what I asked for. Cement ourselves at the top for years to come, so you're not a flash in the pan. You're not a Leicester in the Premier League. You're not a Cass. Huddersfield the year they won it, and so on. So it's
a Warrington, no. Stop that.
It's a tough position to be in, but it's also that beauty of hindsight, and it's also, look, a bit of having a retrospect about yourself. That's how I see it. I'd still like us to be a Wigan and win everything, but the reality is, we're not as good this year. Does that mean I don't think we haven't got a chance? No, of course I do. And so now we move on, and hopefully, as much as the FC fans don't like me, they do realise that I'm nothing if not honest, and I do happily change my opinion from time to time, or change the way I see stuff.
Fair play. Fair answer.
Very succinct.
I was quite surprised because I forgot that I'd given you access to the YouTube account, and then I logged in to check the questions, and I saw this reply, and I'm like, I didn't fucking write that. What's going on here?
I'll be honest with you, because I read the question, and I instantly just thought, I think it's a really fair question. I think it's a great question, and even if it was 100% a dig at me, I still thought it was a good question. I was like, I'd love to answer it, and I thought, I don't want to wait until we record, and sometimes we get a bit messy talking about other stuff. I was like, I'll put an answer in, and then that's when I found out I could answer on YouTube.
Good, I like that, because it means I don't have to answer on YouTube. Right, next question is for all of us from Bazza Kingston. Great pod once again, boys. Question for you all. If you could change one thing in our game to improve the quality on the field, what would it be?
Does that one make sense? That answer.
Yeah, I want rid of scrums, or I want competitive scrums. It's as simple as that for me.
I'd love that.
The scrum going down now, it doesn't often add anything other than a way to set up a good play if you're particularly good at spreading the ball wide, like Wigan are. Fine, learn to defend it better, I hear you say, I understand that. But the point being is, you pack down for no reason. Once in a blue moon, someone does something exciting, pushes the scrum, strikes out. But this week, we saw it in our derby. You guys didn't pack down. Jez went in from our side, they struck at the ball, then Jez gets hit high, it's an absolute mess, and in the end, there's a captain's challenge, blah, 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 it just wastes the time. And I think there's a lot of things wrong with our sport, as much as there's a lot of good with it. If there's something I could change, I actually think, let's change the scrum. And that's either getting rid of it, it'll change the look of our sport, and how we've known it for a long time, or let's make them competitive, get pushing back at the scrum, and see how it goes, because for me, it's just a weird thing for new fans to get their heads around, especially if we're looking for converts. And a lot of converts that come from other sports are more likely to have seen a rugby union game, maybe the Six Nations, seen it on ITV and on BBC, I would think. And if they watch rugby league for the first time, they go, oh, they're going for a scrum, some big lads here, and then we see them just lay on each other for a second. It doesn't make sense.
I don't think they're going to bring back competitive scrums based on the fact of how they're looking at head injuries and the like. So for me, get rid of it, go with the tap. It worked in COVID. Go back to it. That's my opinion on that one.
Old school, I'd like to see them more as traditional scrums myself. Because right now, like you said, they're just another way to restart the game. When you sit there and go, why not just tap it?
Yeah.
As they are right now, they're either get rid of them altogether or make them old school.
I'm with the old school view on things, but not even just in terms of scrums. Like for me, one of the things that I used to love when I was watching rugby league growing up was the physicality of it, in terms of big smash, shoulder charges, all that, and I get that we're never going to get that back, because I understand there's this there is a need to protect the players, and especially protect the players' brains and stuff like that. But if you said to me what would I like to change, I'd be like, bring back the shoulder charge.
I know it's controversial, but I'm very much with you. I thought a well-executed shoulder charge, like Jez Litton did on the weekend, a well-executed shoulder charge, back when I started watching, particularly NRL, and it was like Sam Burgess, and then obviously Sonny Bill, the master of it, was phenomenal. I mean, I watched Sonny Bill get sent off for New Zealand Rugby Union for a perfectly executed shoulder charge in the World Cup about 10 years ago. And the Rugby Union world was like up in like umbrage of it. It was like, it was the first New Zealand All Black to be sent off in 50 years or something. And it was just outrageous, because it was just a beauty of a shot. It didn't hit the guy in the face. The shoulder went directly into like the body and the chest. The guy got up fine, and a well-executed shoulder charge was one of the best things we used to have in the sport. And I know it's controversial to love it.
Burgess on Moi Moi, like in that test match when he was like 18 or something. I'm like, that's the shit I want to see.
Yeah, because Moi Moi picked him out, didn't he, and ran straight at him, and then Burgess went, I'm having you.
One of my all-time favourites is the derby at your place, and Morel lines up Fitzgibbon.
No, it's at our place.
No,
gonna-
definitely.
Oh no, I'm on about Macalizu on.
Yeah, but I'm not. That's what I said.
No, you're not. My favourite one.
I know Macali's own, and you know,
Macaulay.
and they look very similar. Scotty Morrell.
I mean, on top of that, bring back the biff. Like, I want to see Calderwood and Cockayne fighting on the touchline at the MKM again.
I want to see Rob Burrow fighting Epilami Luwaki or whatever it's called. Obviously, I know that, but I meant same comparison sort of thing.
I mean, I know we have been a bit daft, but genuinely, fair enough, bring back the biff would be quite fun, but genuinely, I'd love to have the shoulder charge back.
Does the question say improve the game? What's the
it
word?
says-
I've lost it a bit.
Yeah, one thing in our game to improve the quality on the field, what would it
Oh,
be?
I missed that bit. Multi-ball.
I did that multi-ball. No, for me, they did it at Magic Weekend. I don't know if you guys realised it.
Oh, catch it, keep it.
No, the referees were mic'd up. And when it went to a decision, we could hear it. Like you can in Australia.
I don't
that, for
think-
me, as a fan, massively improved the match day experience. So
That's not necessarily improving the quality.
No,
of
but
the
that's what I mean. That's why I asked what the question was.
If
so
we're
I
going to
could-
go down that route, then I'd be like, right, let's start using 4K cameras so the video ref can
Well,
actually
yeah, there
make a
is
decent
that.
decision.
But that for a
Like-
fan, because we always go, well, what they're doing here?
Yeah,
What's
I
going
agree
on?
though. I did like it.
And then I thought that was really good, and I hope it's here to stay.
I actually think on that point, something that could be beneficial, it'd probably stop a lot of fans in the ground when they've got 7 beers in them not understanding how it works. When the referee misses something, or he doesn't, and he's waiting for the linesman to tell him, the crowd goes into uproar. He's like, that's so forward, how's the ref missed it? And then he gives it and everyone goes, oh yeah, he's pandering to the crowd. We've discussed this before. It takes time for the linesman to speak and it go through the headset and go, that was a forward pass there.
Do you know what I would like though?
And if we could hear the linesman tell him, how good would that be?
Do you know what would be good though? If the linesman used that little flag in his hand. Because they don't use them anymore, do they?
I don't know if they had something in football, didn't they, where the referee had like a vibration plate on his arm, not like a shocking plate. I'm sure they did, and like when the flag went up, there was a button on the flag. If the referee wasn't looking, they could press the button, it'd vibrate on his arm and get the referee's attention.
Get that from Pulse and Cocktails.
Might have been. I might have been on about me and Laura. No, I'm sure.
It is a good thing, but
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I
I'm
do
sure
think,
they
though,
could
like,
do something like that.
the linesman don't put like if it's a forward pass, much the same as like a linesman would in football. He puts his flag up for offside. Why is he
16
not
days
put his
later.
flag or waving his flag?
Ignore the calls to wrap it up from over there. The question was about quality of the game, and we've sort of gone off. Let's keep going deeper. What would make your match day experience better?
Ooh, better players.
They're just getting mad at
Playing 13s at 13 instead of 6.
I'm the one that wants to wrap up early.
Yeah,
Susan
yeah.
and Dean are talking about it right now. I don't even have to look at them.
You can hear them, can't you?
Yeah, of course I can, because they don't show up during
I was going to
recording,
say
Craig.
corner of your ear, but
Yeah.
So, as you all know, next Sunday actually, oh God, it's in like 5 days, 6 days, should probably have done some training. Never mind. I'm running a 10k on the 12th of July in aid of Craig Escrit, raising money for MND. It'll be at East Park. Hopefully we can have a fantastic day, raise loads of funds, obviously add to that, probably be nowhere near that, but add to that 15k which we managed to raise at Magic Weekend. You know, it's close to my heart, especially. I've known Esky for a long time, probably 20 plus years now since we first played football against each other. I did just play football, I do apologise. And every donation, no matter how big or small, or even just a raising awareness, will go so far to helping us beat this disease. There'll be a QR code that comes up every so often, probably on there now actually. So if you can't give anything, which is totally understandable, just share it. Share it with somebody who might be able to. You know, like I said, every little donation is beneficial to it, and hopefully we can find a cure for this horrid disease.
Well, less fun start to the FC versus York, but what do you reckon?
I think if we perform like we have done the last few weeks, even though I think there's still some improvement, I think it should be enough to beat York, even though they've got some players back. but it's FC, so I'm not too sure on that.
I'm worried that he's right.
What do you mean?
We just won't be able to get over the line, even against a team that's there for the taking. That's the worry.
Yeah.
We're more than capable of pinning them down, more than capable of holding them out, more than capable of putting pressure on their line. But even against York, are we capable of throwing ourselves over the try line? I know we did it a couple of weeks ago against Huddersfield, but I think
York did it against Huddersfield with no Liam Harris.
Yeah, I mean York are no disrespect to Huddersfield, York are a big step up from Huddersfield. Huddersfield are just that bad.
Yeah. It is a hard one to see because the barring when we've played clearly the worst team in the league, we've typically struggled to put points on the board, and I can kind of see the same thing happening again where even if we have a good game all round, are we scoring more than 20 points? And then is that enough to beat York on the day? I don't know, because like I say, I saw a little bit of the York game at Magic, and I believe they've got a handful of players back in the last few weeks. So, I mean...
They did look very good at Magic, and like I said, doing it without Liam Harris, who's arguably their general who steers them around the park, and I thought they looked very, very good without him.
Yeah, the thing I like about York is that they've got their own woes, they've had their own injuries, they've had their own off-field stuff around finances. You know, they was given half the funding of all the other clubs, you know, apart from the clubs that have come up in Super League. And yeah, even though they've had big defeats this year, they're competitive and they can score points. Their results against the Saints, they lose by 20 points, but they score 24 themselves. Same against Wigan. And they've beat you once already. And there's a bit of like a grudge to this. There's now like, what, four of you teams down on the bottom that are on 10 points in the league?
Yeah, there's Huddersfield on 4 and then there's 4 of us on 10.
There's 4 of you on 10 and that's 2 of them. And it's a big statement because we're in the second half of the season now. And if they can, you know, get that win this time against you, and all of a sudden it's 2 points on you, they're thinking about how do we finish this season? And it'll always be a success because they're to a Super League, but how do we finish it not as the bottom or the also-rans? Can we finish 9th and be, you know, a couple more results and we could have been looking at playoffs? So they've got that in the mind. And I worry for you guys that there is a significant change around in Lytton not being able to play because he didn't pass his HIA. You'll shuffle around and that'll play a part. And for me, it's not being an FC hater. I'm just not sure you've got it in you because you're going to their place.
Yeah, there's not a lot to argue with. I think in terms of team selection, I think Lloyd Kemp will come in straight swap for Lytton, and I don't think much else will change.
Do you think they'll just shuffle it and put Barron back on the wing?
I was thinking Barron would be back.
And then Briscoe shuffle.
Yeah, sorry, Barron's back in it.
Barron at centre and Briscoe to the wing.
Yeah, sorry.
Is how I would be proposing it. You what?
Barron's winger.
No, but I would be proposing Barron in the centre and Briscoe on the wing. I think that's where you keep going wrong. I've been saying this repeatedly. Barron can play centre. He has played centre for you when he's had to jump in. Briscoe is caught out all the time with his pace. He's an out-and-out winger. I think that would do you well the good.
I think his pace is more like I found it on the wing myself, but hey-ho.
No, because
either way,
prior to popular belief that me and Jimmy argue it all the time, unlike Martin, Briscoe knows how to stay in position on the wing.
But you don't know how to stay in position on the centre, which, yeah, I get that. I do get that. But whether I see Barron as a centre is another thing. I've never seen him play centre, so not for a period of time at least. But
not for a big bottom of the table clash, no, you're right.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I take back my comment on Kemp because Barron completely forgot he was only out with an HIA. So yeah, I would expect Barron to just come in straight from Lytton. Nothing else will change. Same bench. We're
not due any more back, are we?
No, I think there's Sau's a weird one. I don't think we've heard anything about Sau. I think his shoulder, and that was 6 weeks ago, and I've not heard out since. I think he'll be one of them ones where he'll just pop back up in the 21, and we'll be like, oh yeah, thanks for the update. But that's on the club. I think that surprisingly, the club under the new ownership have got even worse at communicating than they were at the old ownership. So yeah.
I guess if there's nothing to report, then if he's injured and they don't know how long it is, then there's no point saying repeatedly we don't know how long it's going to be, is there? But I take your point.
I do think there should be updates, as to like what's he done, what's happening. what are the, is he having surgery? All I know is I think it's a shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can always just come out and just say he's going to see another specialist. We're unsure on length of time or anything like that. The professional sports, they're not just going to go to Hull Royal.
No,
and I get that. Like, he is his own person. It's his own medical stuff. Yes.
No offence to Hull Royal.
But at the end of the day, he plays for the club that we fund. Like, we're the paying supporters, and I am firmly of the belief that we deserve to know what's going on with the players. And
I do think as fans you was burned earlier in the year where you was giving incorrect or unrealistic time frames. And I know it was under Cartwright, I know he's moved on, but it was all around the club management stuff at the time where you were sort of, should be back this many weeks. I mean, you didn't hear anything when you found out that the timings you'd been given were completely unrealistic because the injury was worse and it made you feel as though the club had lied to you. So I think that's kind of an off-field thing that you've got to find right under your new rebrand coming into the new year, next season, when you've got new coach, you've got new players and you're looking at a different way than the club's been this year. I think that's something that you want to be challenging and saying, how does that communication work? Is it radio silence, you'll find out when you need to know, or is it going to be, well, as fans we want to know? Because I think you're right, you sort of want to know, but it's a tough one.
I think, it is. A little bit off topic, but yeah. And in terms of FC versus York, though, looking forward to going. Never been to that stadium. I've heard good things about it. Small, decent atmosphere, compact, whatever.
Semi-final there's a fantastic atmosphere. It's a great stadium.
So yeah, looking forward.
There's no dig.
Oh, all right.
We've been there in the league.
Just a great place to go.
Fair.
When you get to semi-finals.
I mean, you'll see my predictions later. I'm still hopeful that we'll pull out a win. I'm hopeful that we pull out a decent win because I think we have got a squad capable enough of doing it. It's just finding that something that clicks when we get to their line.
At this point, although we've still got a lot of injuries, we're not on bare bones like we were like 6 weeks ago, are we?
No, I mean, in terms of 1 to 13, there's 1, 3 and 13 that are missing.
Yeah.
There's in terms of like bench players and other players with different numbers, we were talking about before the episode, like people like Connor Bailey, Arthur Romano are still missing, and I think Bailey, for me, is one of the signings that we've made this season where I'm really impressed with, and I'd like to see him back. No disrespect to Lennon Clark, sorry. I would like to see Bailey back. Does make a difference. Arthur Romano, massive impact, just wasn't expected. But yeah, in terms of starting 13, 1, 3 and 13 are the only ones missing, so we should, in theory,
we should be able to turn a decent performance, yeah.
Rovers Wakefield, Saturday 5:30 p.m. at Craven Park. Nice to come home to a home game this weekend.
This is the warm-up to England versus
it is,
Norway.
Yes, curtain raiser.
Tribal.
Yeah,
I would take Dan Byrne at Rovers.
Put him on the wing.
Yeah.
Well, Henderson plays for Hull, I think.
No, he didn't play and get injured.
But that's the point.
Just did it in training. Well, it wasn't even training, was it? It was. Anyway, we digress again. Very, very tough game coming up. They didn't have to expend a lot of energy. Focusing on Wakefield, obviously, first of all. At Magic Weekend, Castleford were just absolutely dire. But they just seemed to do everything with ease at Magic. And, we said before when we played them at their place, that's testament to what Carter and Darryl Powell are building there. Carter being the owner. And it's just going to be a really, really tough game, I think. If we come out of anything, we're going to have to be close to a brilliant performance, rather than just, no offence to all, but doing what we have to do.
You're not going to meander to a...
No, exactly. We're going to have to go above and beyond that. I'm not saying we need a 100% performance, because obviously we don't often get those in rugby league, as you said before, Josh, but it's going to have to be a 90-95% performance. It's going to have to be a very good performance to turn this Wakefield side over, given how high they are on confidence and how well they're playing at the moment.
If it wasn't our place, I would be going Wakey's way. As always, because we are at home, it gives us that edge. And I do fancy us. I feel as though as long as I keep hoping it will happen, keep backing the team and hoping that it's going to click and we'll have that type of performance that we haven't seen for a few weeks now, where we are a bit more clinical, we don't make bad decisions, we don't sort of give the other team a chance to get back into the game. And yeah, I said earlier, against the teams that are in the top 6, we found ourselves struggling this year where we didn't last year as such. So it is a top 6 side, it's a good side. I have a lot of respect for Wakey, and I won't be surprised if we don't come out as winners. But I do fancy us to find a turnaround, and feel as though a couple of the niggles, a couple of the injuries we're going to get back. You know, we don't know about Dino yet and stuff like that, but there are players like Jez managed to get through the game unscathed, which means that the injury he was carrying seems to be okay.
He only played 71 minutes though.
Yeah, there is that. And I just think that's going to help us as well. I don't know about Budgie, maybe he'll be back, but I'm going to go our way when it comes to predictions, spoiler alert. But, you know, wouldn't be surprised if we don't manage to get it done, because that's the way the season's going. But if we want to keep going and want to stay in the top 6 and we want to try and find a purple patch that we haven't really had in a long stint this year, this would be a good place to start.
Yeah, we've seen the Rovers of old in patches. Like I've said to a couple of people, I stand there and stuff, I was like, this is like the Rovers of old where we've cut loose a little bit, but then in the next breath we're just regressing to sort of, not regressing, that's probably a bit harsh, but we're sort of going back to the Rovers that we're seeing. I mean, going back and regressing is the same thing, but you know, we're going back to what we've seen this season, where we're not respecting the ball, our real discipline's creeping into the game, especially when teams get on top. We saw it at Magic Weekend, all started getting on top and we let our discipline go a little bit. We was doing stupid stuff, we was giving away silly penalties and, you know, things like that. So
it's not even that as well, it's just that little bit of being a bit more clinical. You know, in the first half in the derby, there were 2 balls out wide to Davies.
Davies, yeah.
Who, I'll give him one of them, fair play, but he's got to be scoring 1 out of them 2 at least, really. And typically he usually does. Regardless of whether, you know, we could go back into the game and it's because he was shut down by an FC Pro. That one of them was just a great ball out to him, but he's knocking it on. And we're doing these more and more, and you'll look back at the game, it'll be Rovers made 9 errors, whereas last year we'd only made 4 or 5. And yeah, it's just, it's not really clicking and being as clinical as I'd like, and I think we have to do that this weekend. I'm hoping we can, and that's why it's got to happen at some point, hasn't it? Teams do have purple patches.
Yeah, the completion rate was a little bit better on Saturday. I think it was 78 against Leeds and 84 against Hull, so it was marginally better, but still not brilliant. I'd like to see us respect that ball a little bit more, be around that 90% mark. You know, you can forgive a couple of errors, big shot, perfect shot under the ball, or the like. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Obviously, I know I always say that, but can't do much else.
There'll be some win from the dock to help us, I'm sure.
Predictions then. Shout outs. Yellow cap went to Mark 741892. It was Mark Little and he scored 8.25. So I think it was relatively a low scoring round this week. I think the winning margins took a lot away from people because there were a lot bigger winning margins than we probably expected. And the wooden spoon, come and join the club, is Wildy, who's James Wild, who scored 2 points. Did predict all the games. Some of them were drastically wrong, sorry to call you out, but they were. Quick review of our standings. Susan still remains top, gaining 5.75 points this week, takes him to 109. Dean on 101.50, gaining 5.5. Myself still in third, 93 on 5, adding 5, sorry. Jimmy 91.25, gaining 4.5, but the big scorer of the round for us, Batman player over there, was Josh. Scored 7.25 and takes him up to 88.75. So Batman coming to fruition as he predicted. This week then, starting Thursday night, as we just discussed, LNER, York versus Hull FC. I've got FC by 10.
York by 4.
FC8.
This goes completely against what I've said in our prediction, in our review, but I've got FC by 18.
Dean's got York by 6 and Susan's got FC by 8.
I know we shouldn't run over time, but that's what you should be doing against York.
Yeah,
that should be the score.
exactly that.
And we should all be sat here going, yeah, well, we're all very similar, aren't we? Because that's what FC should do.
Yeah, that's
But
why I've gone
the
for it,
fact it's
because
split 3 and 2 tells you everything.
I just like the fact that Dean's given up on FC. It's fantastic. And he's not on here to defend that comment.
I don't even know what the name is now. Huddersfield Stadium, just call it that. It could be anywhere.
ACU, isn't it?
ACU, that's the one. Thank you very much. Huddersfield versus Bradford. Bradford by 10.
Bradford by 8.
Bradford 12.
Bradford 10.
Bradford 10. Dean's got Bradford 8 and Susan's got Bradford 10, so Bradford across the board there. Brick Community Stadium over in Wigan. Wigan Warrington. Big win for Wigan, 32.
Wigan by 16.
Wigan by 20.
Wigan by 12.
Dean and Susan have also both got Wigan by 12. So that is Wigan across the board there. Warrington were absolutely dire at weekend. I think I might be closer here. Just going out on a limb, I'm going to say that, by the way. Lee versus Castleford, Lee Sports Village. I have got Lee by 26.
Well, Lee by 22.
Lee by 20.
I've gone real mellow here with this, and I don't know why, but I've got Lee by 10.
Fair enough. Dean's got Lee by 20 and Susan's got Lee by 16.
I'm thinking,
And it'll
in
say
a normal world, Cash should be trying to bite back after that game against Wakefield. It's
Can't
whether
say.
they've got that bite in them. I'm hoping they have, because
Because you've only predicted
I've only
by 10.
predicted them by 10.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, we can't always just get it the way we think it should. And I think you and Wigan are the prime example week before last. Nobody was even close because
I predicted Wigan to beat us by 40.
and
I
yet
had
all of a
32, I
sudden
think.
you're into that close, and it could be that game, and you'll look back at it and go,
Jimmy's a genius.
what just happened there? So you're not wrong to do it, James.
Slough Craven Park, Saturday night, Rovers Wakefield, Rovers by 8.
Rovers by 8.
Wakey by 8.
Wakey by 8.
By 8. Dean's got Rovers by 4, Susan's got Rovers by 6.
The moment Dean leaves this podcast, he's backing against all, he's backing for Rovers, the true colours come out. Fascinating.
Well, we'll have to see where that goes, won't we? Stade Gilbert Brutus, South of France, Catalan versus Leeds, Leeds by 28.
Leeds by 18.
Leeds by 30.
Leeds by 18.
And ironically, Dean and Susan have also got Leeds by 18. Both of them. Final game of the round, St Helens Brewdog Stadium, if it's still called that. I know they went into liquidation, so I don't know if they've changed that or not. St Helens versus Toulouse. I've got St Helens by 8.
Saints by 14.
Saints by 8.
Saints by 8.
By 8. Susan. Oh, no, Dean's got Saints by 14 and Susan's got Saints by 12. That wraps up predictions for this week.
Wraps up the episode, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so thanks again to Comscaf for sponsoring. Thanks. Oh, we didn't point out the ball.
Do it now, cutting it at the start.
Yeah, right. So, just to point out, our rugby league can't do anything right. Where is it?
Other panel.
There it is. Catalan. Didn't even play at Magic Weekend. Catalan. And where's Leeds? Can you find Leeds for me on there? I just hate that rugby league can't do anything right. Anyway, thanks very much to Comscaf for sponsoring. Thank you very much to Tribal for letting us record here again and for being the home of the pod. And yeah, for anyone that's watching, listening, please like and subscribe. And if you are watching on YouTube, please hype as well. That's the wrong Castleford badge as well.
I can't tell you how much I want to finish the episode by passing it into the camera. I know
That's an expensive camera. On that note, he's got the best hands here anyway. So see you bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.
See you, bye.